Welcome to another Bills and Brews Web Extra. We're still working on getting our Kickstarter funded, but today we wanted to sit down with lawmakers and talk about legislation pending before Congress that directly impacts the craft brewing industry. Cheers. This new FDA rule, really intriguing. Can you flesh this out for our viewers?
Yeah, I think we kind of went off the deep end when we heard about this. It's part of the new Food Safety Modernization Act, and I think we all understand that we want to make sure that everybody gets safe food, and that there are no questions about how food is handled, how agricultural products are handled. But from the beginning of this law, we've been finding a lot of issues that are of concern to our small farmers.
Well, this is why even small businesses need to pay attention to what's happening in Washington. Because right now you have the spent grains, right? That some nutrients have been harvested out of it to produce the taste, the smell, the alcohol in beer. And what is remaining is still food. I mean, we're talking about natural food that goes into the brewing of beer. So out of those natural inputs, you also get natural outputs, if you will. We're drinking part of it, but you also have the spent grains, right? That most breweries give to local farmers so they can feed their livestock. It is the most basic type of recycling.
It's coming under a new rule about animal product safety, and they were going to put so many restrictions on there that the brewers would have had to end up drying it, packaging it, doing all kinds of things that they don't now do. Literally, our dairy farmers pull up to the back door and load up truckloads of this and take it home to their cows. So our argument was, if you put so many restrictions on it, the brewers are going to have to dispose of it in a landfill. They're not going to be able to profitably do all these things to it and still find someone who will take it.
This is not what we want. I mean, if you have any thought about the impacts on the environment, you would allow us to feed it to the animals.
Okay, you've got a product that's safe for human consumption. When these grains are leaving the door, they've been, used in this product, and suddenly we're saying it's not okay to feed it to a cow? I mean, we want our cows well fed, and we want animal feed to be healthy and safety, but I'm frankly much more worried about the antibiotics and the other toxins in animal food today, not spent grain.
So that's where the FDA's regulatory change can have a hugely negative impact. So it's good to see that Congresswoman Pingree is leading the effort on this, and we can work together in a bipartisan way to stop the FDA from doing something that is not responsible.
We've asked them for a specific exemption for brewers' spent grains. So I think that they will see that is a different product than what goes into animal feed in your pet food or something else that should be closely regulated. You don't want your dog to get sick because something was mishandled. This is a very different product.
But you think
They agreed at the hearing. We had a talk with Commissioner Hamburg, and she said she was going to look into this and that she thought we could find some accommodations.
And so how did this come across your radar, this issue?
Well, honestly, I literally picked up the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, and there was a story about it, and so we immediately called a couple of our dairy farmers and said, and the breweries, and said, give us a sense of the volume. How are you handling this? We have a wonderful farmer in my district. His name is Norm Justice, which you couldn't ask for a better name if you're going to talk about what's the right thing to do. And he not only picks up the spent grains to take to his cows, but he actually distributes them to several other farmers. And for Allagash, which is, here we go, a very large brewery in our state, they would have an enormous amount of waste to deal with if they couldn't feed this to animals. I don't know how much you know about the dairy farming business, but particularly in New England, it's very expensive to buy grain. We have to ship a lot of it from the Midwest. We don't grow enough locally. So for them to be able to make up a little bit of what they have to feed their cows through this product, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.